There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill.
Hello there, gang. Welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour. You know, I was actually going to release a video last night on the stroke of midnight as an April Fool's joke, and I was doing a top 10 best Marvel Legends, and of course, April Fool's they were actually terrible Marvel Legends. But like, after filming the video and editing it and uploading it, I was like, I just don't like April Fools. I don't like any kind of I don't like deception, even if it's a jokey kind of thing. So instead, I've posted that on my Patreon. So if anyone wants to go over to Patreon and sign up for that, you can see an April Fool's top 10 best, worst Marvel Legends. But I can tell you, 4 people, I just put myself in the eye.
I can tell you, 4 people.
I'm not going to edit that out. 4 people who can see that Patreon video are Millie, BJ, Ammo, and Zach. My Fat 4, my 4 horsemen Patreons. That video is up there for you guys. And if you want to join them in that incredibly exclusive club, then you can do by going to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. I'm such an idiot. So what I am going to do is a very legitimate list today, and that is my top 10 best monsters, most monstrous characters, because I bloody love monsters. I'm a big sci-fi horror guy, and you know what? We don't have enough Marvel Legends monsters. I've been looking at some old classic McFarlane figures recently and just reminding myself man, I love me a good monster. So here are my top 10 Marvel Legends monsters. Coming in at number 10, we have a fantastic figure that doesn't get enough recognition from me, and that is Sauron, Kyle Lykos. What a badass figure this is. This guy, I'm not actually sure. I need to read up on a wiki. Is he a mutant, or is he, I think he's like a scientist who went to the Savage Land, but he has mind controlling powers as well. So is one of those a mutant thing? Was his mind controlling a mutant thing and then he went to the Savage Land and became like a dinosaur reptile man? I don't know. What I do know though is that this Marvel Legend here, this builder figure, so good. Huge, but more to the point, look at the detailing, especially on the face. The lizard, pterodactyl, bird-like detailing on there with the wonderful paint fading from the beak up to the face. This is premium, top quality Marvel Legends, and we don't always get this kind of, just look at the wash, the airbrushing style paintwork on the body. Just the more I look at it, the more I'm like, this is such a good figure. The only thing that drives me crazy is that the tail is a solid tail, so you've got to have a lot of space behind it to be able to actually pose him. So that's kind of annoying because he just takes up, this is the surface area that he takes up on a shelf. It's a lot, as my girlfriend says about stressful situations.
It's a lot.
But number 10, easy, Kyle Lykos. Such an awesome figure and a great looking monster. Coming up next, we have Toxin, one of my absolute favorite figures. I adore this guy, and why not? As soon as I saw this design of Toxin in the comics, I was like, oh gosh, I really want to have that as a figure. And I thought, there's no way Hasbro are going to do that. And lo and behold, they did. And they did it so well. Now, I could easily just do a list of 10 symbiotes. They're all wonderfully monstrous. So I'm trying to limit it to just a couple who are particular standouts. But Toxin and also the Life Foundation symbiotes in particular are wonderfully monstrous. Recently, especially in the kind of Absolute Carnage and King in Black type stories, the Life Foundation symbiotes have really been portrayed as these horrific body horror, nightmare type creations, and that's so cool. So the Scream series that features them as well, absolute. If you're talking about horror, mwah, chef's kiss of horror. And this guy with all the mouths coming off of him, it's so kind of eldritch type horror. It's wonderful, and the gnarly face. I use this guy for a lot of top 10s because there's always so many good reasons to use him. Love me some Toxin. Number 8, now we've got a figure that I think is crying out for an update, and that is the Abomination. I mean, just talk about monstrous characters. This is fantastic, but oh my goodness, we had that Gamerverse Abomination last year, which was just stunning, but I couldn't have him on my shelf because it's Gamerverse. Ugh. But if they just repainted him, gave him a new comic book style head like this, oh my giddy lord, take my money. But in the meantime, this old Builder figure, actually this isn't the Builder figure, I think this is the Raft one. That's what I was trying to say. This is the Raft Abomination, which a friend of mine sent to me as a gift, and I was like, oh, bloody love you. So this is a wonderful Abomination figure, but he needs an update. He's big, but he's not as big as he could be, and by rights, really should be. And also, like, with the Immortal Hulk comic that's out at the moment, there are so many new, more monstrous, disgusting versions of the Abomination that I would love to see. Give me an Abomination with an alternate head that is the Rick Jones head. That's so cool. If you guys haven't seen Immortal Hulk, the Abomination, their version is Rick Jones, and he looks like the Abomination, but his face is just two hands, and the fingers open up to reveal the face. It's bizarre, weird, and so cool. Coming in next, we have the ManThing. Those who know fear burn at the ManThing's touch. I've always thought that was incredibly unfair. Like, what? So does it assume that like, oh, you'll only be scared if you've done something bad and you're an evil person, therefore you'll burn at the ManThing's touch? Because quite frankly, if this was coming towards me in a deserted swamp, I might feel a little bit, what am I trying to say? A little bit nervous. At least, nervous / pants-wetting terror. So you know what? I would probably burn at the ManThing's touch. I don't want to big myself up too much, but I think I'm a relatively nice guy. I don't want to burn at the ManThing's touch, but there you go. Serves me right for being a little bitch, apparently. But yeah, this guy is as monstrous as they come, and you gotta love it. Although, also, I find like his big circular eyes, I like big puppy dog eyes. That's why he's kind of adorable as a character. But certainly, if we're comparing monsters here, because this also really makes me think of like the classic Marvel monsters, which I would love to see new versions of. We got the 4-pack years ago with Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the Wolfman, and the Marvel Zombie. And those still look great today. I'm still tempted every now and then when I see them for sale to be like, oh, go on, treat yourself, because they do look terrific. The sculpting and the designs on them are beautiful, but I want more up-to-date versions. But those classic monsters with this guy, I just think are such a great team up and a pairing. And as far as movie monster type characters go, Creature from the Swamp, absolutely perfect, well deserving of a top 10 place. Next up now, we've got a bit of a surprising entry maybe. We have Death's Head 2. Any excuse for me to get out Death's Head 2. Is he monstrous? Well, I would say pretty monstrous. I mean, first of all, he's like a human, cyborg, robotic hybrid. That in itself is totally cool. And there's so much cool artwork. When artists draw this guy, when they really want to put in the effort, they will make him look like so gnarly with the metal coming down his face and all the kind of burnt up looking pulled away skin. I look really gnarly when I do that too because my teeth are so busted. But Death's Head 2 just looks so awesome. I love a good cyborg. I love that melding of metal and flesh. You can do so many cool things with that. It's kind of a shame that this figure has so much just blank, empty blue space that could have also been put to better use. But again, that's what the character looks like, so it is what it is. But I absolutely adore this guy for a real body horror type melding of metal and flesh. Oh, Death's Head 2, so cool. Now, I don't normally use customs for this list, but I want to use this custom because I adore it, and it's such an obscure character, but so monstrous. It is DK. Look at this guy. I know you're all giving me the old, who? DK, alright, is a one-time character from an issue of the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man. When Ben Reilly had taken over, he fought the menace of DK. Now, of course, this figure is a retooled MCU Molten Man with a lot of blue stuff sculpting all over with a completely redone other leg. He's got the Hydro Man hands. There's so much extra work that's gone into this with a beautiful purpley grey kind of wash as well. I love this guy. But DK was a cool character. He's kind of a anti-hero, really. He was a guy who, you know, got like pollution sludge kind of like, you know, doused over him, and he's Clayface basically, because he can take on a human form, but then when he kind of lets go, he will morph into this blob of stuff, which he has like a corrosive touch, hence DK. And ultimately in the story, you know, Ben Reilly did what, you know, real heroes do, and he's like, don't kill the people who did this to you, I'm gonna take them in. And he was basically like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go about my business then. And that was the last we saw of DK, which is good enough for me to immortalize him on my shelf. Great looking monster villain. Now, when we're talking monsters, it doesn't get more monstrous than cannibalism. And the Wendigo, that's what he's all about. So the curse of the Wendigo, from what I understand, again, I might be showing my ignorance, is that someone who consumes human flesh at this, I don't know what it is, because people eat human flesh all the time, but sometimes that turns them into a Wendigo. So again, I should have done my homework before doing this show. What are you gonna do? You don't come here for facts. Come here for the bands and the desperate Patreon plugs. So Wendigo, yes, human flesh. Cannibalism ends up making you a Wendigo. And what is so cool about this is just look at this guy. I mean, for a gnarly, badass looking figure, I love the amount of work that Hasbro put into this. And I think we're gonna get a lot of reuse for the upcoming Zenmu figure, which I'm kind of disappointed about, but at the same time, it is a really cool big white hairy body. But just the actual the teeth and the sculpting around the mouth just looks so nasty, proper like Wolfman-y kind of style. It's the Spanish Wolfman. But yeah, I love Wendigo. I think he's so cool with the blue wash as well, the big ass tail and the blood-stained teeth. Awesome looking Marvel monster. For our number 3 place, we're going for a smaller figure, but no less monstrous, and that is, of course, the Demo Goblin. I bring this guy out all the time because I bloody love him so much. I wasn't disappointed. I was thrilled when we got the Demo Goblin announced, but then I was like, oh, he's a Build-A-Figure? He's not really Build-A-Figure size. But then once I have him in hand, it's just like, oh no, you can be a Build-A-Figure if you want because you're so damn pretty. I don't mind. This guy, I mean, come on, he's a demon from a hell dimension. And again, talking about like body horror earlier, the way the demon possessed Jason Macendale and slowly morphed him into an actual goblin, that I love those kind of monkey's paw wish type stories of, you know, be careful what you wish for because you might just get it. And that was the Demo Goblin. So cool and great to see the character back in the comics now. But I'm kind of sort of torn because it's great to have the Demo Goblin back. This is the female kind of version, the Dema Goblin, which is odd, but okay. Just the naming, choosing to do the naming scheme is a bit funny. But the fact that they killed off one of my favorite characters, Shriek, in order to bring Demo Goblin back, I'm like, I kind of like lost a penny, found a penny, basically. But hopefully they'll get separated again and we'll have the 2 individual characters. But still, the amount of detailing on the face of this guy just looks so great with the gnarly claws as well. Badass monster figure. And for our number 2 place, I said I wasn't going to overuse the symbiotes, and I meant that, but at the same time, come on. I mean, come on. Venompool, how could you not include this guy? Just incredible. It's one of those ones where it's like, okay, I'm not going to use all the symbiotes, but I'm going to use a couple of good symbiotes. I suppose using Monster Venom would have made sense, but this guy is he's just more fun. There's more going on here. And again, I don't get him out as much as I should because I can never really use him in many sort of team building or comic book story type videos because he's just from the Marvel Contest of Champions game. Is it Contest of Champions? I think it is. So he doesn't really crop up much. So any excuse to use him. What a great looking monster this is. Big gnashing teeth, purple tongue, huge claws. He's got like the restraints on there as well on his ankles and the Frankenstein's monster style stitching as well. Brilliant, bonkers, love this guy. And finally, the #1 monstrous Marvel legend, at the moment at least, has to be the Sugar Man. Oh, who doesn't love this guy? Especially with his custom tattoo from Moroha Customs. Gotta love that. But this guy is one that I think the last time I actually got him out for a video was when I was doing my top 10 sexiest Marvel legends. That was a good time, that one. Go back in the archives and find that one. But yeah, look, four arms, giant, disgusting licking tongue, gnashing teeth, big sort of fat, stumpy, weird looking body. So much fun. This is, again, when Hasbro decide to push the boat out, they really go for it. And the Sugar Man is such a gross, disgusting, creepy character where he was the commander of Apocalypse's slave pits when, you know, we were in the Age of Apocalypse, and just the most scummy, vile character. Actually, I wonder, I need to, again, read the wiki, because one, I don't like modern X-Men much, but, you know, they have all, basically, the X-Men now have their mutant island of Krakoa, and they basically gave an amnesty to every mutant in the world. They were like, good, bad, indifferent, come to Krakoa, we'll all work together and make a society. So I gotta wonder if the Sugar Man is on Krakoa, or if he's welcome there, or if he was killed off years ago. I don't know, I'll have to find out. But either way, the figure itself is just terrific. I dig this guy, love him to bits. Awesome, monstrous Marvel legend. And folks, that was my top 10 list of monstrous Marvel legends. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just a completely random, off the top of my head kind of video, but what the heck, we enjoyed those sometimes. If you did, like, share, and subscribe. Go over to patreon.com/display model behavior if you want to see some of my other sort of ramblings about this and that. Go over to my sister channel, Displaying Miscellaneous Behavior, if you want to hear me talk about movies, video games, comic books, wrestling, all that kind of thing. Gonna have a review of Godzilla vs. King Kong up there soon. I'm really looking forward to that movie. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Cheers.